Hi! So today I want to talk to you about traveling with children. The days of, talking with a friend of mine on the phone and deciding that we're just going to pack our bags and take the flight that leaves in 3 hours and go to Vegas for 24 hours, over. I can't do that anymore. Traveling with a child, specifically a toddler, my daughter is 2.5, is a whole different beast. And you have to make sure that you have enough stuff to entertain them for the whole flight, or else everybody around you is going to hate you, and you're probably going to hate yourself and wonder why you even signed on for this adventure. So, I have a couple tips about how to keep little kids entertained for a long flight. My daughter is 2.5. She'll be 3 at the end of December. And she's already been on 9 flights. She's a great traveler. We're very lucky. But, she is 2 after all, so she does get bored really easily. So I've kind of got the traveling thing down pat, in my opinion, and I wanted to share some of my tips with you. So the first thing that we do is before we even get on the plane, we promised our daughter that for every hour of the flight that she was a good girl, that she would get a special present. She's really into the Cars and Planes movies by Disney right now, and since we are flying on an airplane for 4.5 hours, no less, we thought that this would be a great reward. So what we did is every hour on the hour, we gave her a new airplane. These are just from the dollar store. They're the same as the ones that you would get at the Disney store. So what we did is every hour we would make a big deal, say, oh, you were such a good girl, you're being so quiet, you're being so good, you get your new present. And we would take one of these out of our bag, and she was thrilled, and gave her something to play with as well as something to look forward to and a reason to be well behaved. So that's my number one tip, is find something that your kid loves and use it as a bribe, if we're being honest. My next tip is snacks. You have to have lots of food. Like what they give you on the plane, that's not going to last, especially if your kid's picky. My first tip is to get a cup that comes with a lid on it. So this is a Tervis tumbler. We brought this with us. We were able to bring it through security, no problem, because it was empty. And then before we got on the plane, we filled it up at a water fountain. And that way my daughter constantly had something to drink on the flight. We didn't have to wait for the flight attendants to come around with the beverage service. The lid is nice too, because then you're not going to have a giant mess if they knock it over. And you can just stick a straw on the top too if you need to. Snacks are another bonus. This is one that you can only take with you if you're on a domestic flight because it's a dairy product, but I buy these yogurt tubes and I freeze them so that by the time that you get to the airport, they're still cold. And sometimes they're still like in the frozen popsicle-ish state, so they're not as messy, because I know my daughter, if they're not frozen, she just squirts them everywhere. So this is a great thing, but remember, only for domestic travel, because it is a dairy product. Otherwise, things that are individually wrapped are also a great idea. Individual bags of cookies, granola bars. That way you're not bringing a huge container or a box or anything like that. There are 2 things that I made an exception for on our last trip. Goldfish cookies, so I just brought the whole bag so that it would last us. It's my cat. Hey, buddy. And my daughter loves Paw Patrol like every other toddler on the planet. So we also brought these Paw Patrol cookies. It was a great reward system for her. She was really excited about them and had something to look forward to. So the next thing is entertainment. A great thing for an airplane are these mess-free coloring books. My husband's a flight attendant. He hates when people let their kids go wild on the plane. I'm not going to mince words here, buddy. But, sorry, my cat likes to know what I'm doing. These are great because the kids with these toddler-sized markers can only color on these pages. They can try and color on their skin, on the table tray, on the seat, and nothing's going to happen. See? They only work on the paper, so it's genius for when you're traveling or when you're on an airplane. You don't want to make a mess. My other major suggestion is electronic entertainment. I know people think it rots their brains, but you got to do what you got to do on a 4.5 hour flight. So we brought my daughter her Leap Pad. We brought this, and I downloaded a couple special games for her before the flight, so they'd be new and exciting, and that kept her entertained, I swear, for a good hour and a half. And for a 2-year-old, that's ideal. And my last must-have, an iPad or a tablet. I loaded a bunch of movies on there for her, all her favorite Disney movies, a couple TV shows, and then some brand new games again, something that she'd never used. I got a bunch of apps that didn't need the internet, and I loaded it up with games and entertainment, and I got her her very own headphones. They were shaped like turtles, and she loved them. And I'm telling you, she's 2.5 years old. She's got ants in her pants all the time, hates to sit still, but you know what? On a 4.5 hour flight, she did so well. The key is keeping them entertained and happy and well fed. So if you're on a long flight with your toddler anytime soon, I wish you the best of luck. Cheers.